Welcome to Britain Fights Back. 3 men have been sentenced to prison time over their role in a migrant hotel protest in Epping, a small town in Essex, this summer. The protests, which sparked similar demonstrations around the country, began after sexual assaults on a young girl, by a recently arrived asylum seeker, being housed within the Epping community, caused outrage. Stuart Williams, 36, was jailed for 2 years and 4 months after he got onto the roof of the Bell Hotel and attempted to ring the bell. He also kicked at an officer and got onto the roof of a nearby school. Martin P. Graham, 33, was locked up for 2 years and 2 months after he kicked a police van, kicked out at officers, and threw a can at police. Fellow defendant Dean Smith was jailed for 22 months after he was spotted punching a policeman's shield and shoving officers. We may compare these stiff sentences with the lightweight 12-month sentence handed down to Hadish Kebatu, the Ethiopian migrant staying at the Bell Hotel in Epping, who had only been in the UK for 8 days, before actually assaulting the child, and we might deliberate, something has gone horribly wrong with our justice system. Court artist sketch of Mohammed Shawwalk, 32, another Bell Hotel resident who was jailed for 16 weeks and ordered to pay hundreds of pounds in compensation to victims after he admitted 2 counts of common assault and 4 of assault by beating. One reason for the harsher sentences of the 3 protesters appears to be an alleged racist intent behind their protest. The word racist was once a very powerful word, but nowadays it's thrown around like a general insult. The problem is when people are jailed for being racist, where no racism exists. Not everyone in the Bell Migrant Hotel in Epping is from the same country. Some are from sub-Saharan African countries, some are from Asia and the Middle East. 3 quite separate, modern ideas of races. So the Epping protesters couldn't have been racist toward the race of the immigrants staying at the hotel. So where does the racist element come into their protest? In fact, it doesn't. Today, people are being labeled racist where no racism was ever intended or factually presented. Mothers and grandmothers are labeled far-right fascist for simply demanding their children are kept safe.
Still trying to do social media.
The problem for these lovely ladies are, they're white. The idea of a reciprocal social contract, as first set out by Thomas Hobbes, is pretty simple. The people obey the law, while in return, the sovereign and the state keep the people safe. Here Conservative MP, Robert JENRIK gets called a racist by a Sky News presenter for saying he was in a particular part of Birmingham, the nearest thing to a slum he's ever seen in Britain, and was the only white face around. But how can that be labelled a racist comment, if it's a fact? Or even a perceived fact? Obviously it can't.
I want to play you a bit of yourself, actually, Robert JENRIK, from a recording that's been published in a newspaper this morning. We'll play it, it's about Britishness, and then we'll talk on the other side.
The other thing that I noticed there was that it was one of the worst integrated places that I've ever been to. In fact, in the hour and a half that I was filming with news there, I didn't see another white face. And that's not the kind of country I want to live in. I want to live in a country where people are properly integrated. It's not about the colour of your skin or your faith. Of course it isn't. But I want people to be living alongside each other, not parallel lives.
That's you talking about Handsworth as you went there to film a video. Just expand a little more on what you're saying there in that audio, Robert.
Well, look, I don't resile from those comments. I want to live in a country which is well integrated. I want people to...
I do wonder what integrated means for you, and I wonder how you can judge that a person is integrated by the colour of their skin, being there for 90 minutes.
Well, look, I was very clear that it's not about the colour of your skin or the faith...
You didn't see any white faces, and that's what made you feel like it wasn't integrated.
The point that I was making is we want all people to be living side by side. We can't have particular communities in this country where there's a heavy preponderance of one group or another. We want people to be living in mixed communities, don't we? I mean, I don't know about you, but that's what I want to see
100%.
in this country. That's the kind of country I want my kids to be growing up in.
Robert JENRIK,
You know,
we don't have
there's huge strengths in that.
I hear
But
you.
we mustn't have
we don't have loads of time. I wanna
growing
get some more points.
communities where people are living essentially ghettoised lives.
Okay.
That is a bad place for our country to be in.
It is. And Robert JENRIK, you know that kind of language, I mean, you said you're putting your head above the parapet, but you'll know that kind of language does give support for groups on the far right that don't want to see brown and black people living in this country.
Not.
You know that, don't you?
I tell you, no, I think that's an absolutely disgraceful and ridiculous comment.
Is this "whites need not apply" recruitment advert racist? Of course it is. And what about this? When people protesting for the protection of their children are called racist, I think we have a problem. How do we deal with this? You can leave your thoughts in the box below and become part of our fast-growing community. Until next time, I'll just say stay calm, stay safe, and we'll chat again soon.